What's happening, guys? It's Dave from Betsum.com coming at you with my NFL daily fantasy sports picks for Week 13, as well as the bets that I like this week. Last week, my bets went 2-1, which isn't bad. However, I snapped my 6-0 pick of the week streak because my one loss was with Tennessee +2, who lost by 3 in the waning minutes. Minute and a half left. They were up 4. And Carr, who's been playing great for Oakland, he scored a touchdown with a minute and a half left, go ahead by 3 points, and they were favored by 2. So I was close to going 3-0 and keeping the streak alive, but it happens. I got a few more picks this week. Still feeling great about the season, daily fantasy and picks, as well as the NBA. Everything's been going pretty well this year so far. So we're looking to keep all that going. Had a couple of nice sweats last week. Had all the right people at all the right positions except running back for daily fantasy, and that hurt me. So I ended up having a nice, small, profitable Sunday for daily fantasy, but didn't get a win or a final table on any of my NFL actions. So we're gonna try again this week. So here are a few plays that I like. I love Cam Newton. He's 7,400, which is a high price tag for him. But he's been playing lights out. He scored 5 touchdowns 2 weeks ago, and he's playing at the Saints, who have the second worst pass defense in the league, and he looks like he can't be stopped. So I would stack him with Greg Olsen and reverse stack him with Brandon Cooks in that spot, which is what I will be doing in at least a few lineups. I also like Ryan Fitzpatrick at 5,200. He just came off a huge game, so it's like you almost bet that he's not going to do it twice in a row. But his matchup's just too good here. He's against the Giants, who are dead last in the league versus the pass. And he's playing with a ton of confidence, and he's cheap. So I would stack him with Marshall, but I think Decker actually might be even better play this week just because Marshall's a little hobbled. So I think stacking – I'm sure Marshall's going to play. So stacking him with either of them is probably a good play. But I would lean towards Marshall if he's healthy, but Decker's fine. Last but not least here, we got Hasselbeck, who's playing versus Pitt, who is a weak pass defense this year, and they've been playing shootouts this year. So, he's super cheap, and he's played great in Luck's absence this year. They're 4-0, and I just think that he's a great play for that price against a team that likes to get into shootouts. I would stack him with T.Y. Hilton, by the way, in that spot. I don't think the other Colts receiving targets are really worth gambling on at this point. No one's proven anything, but T.Y. Hilton is still relatively good there in Indianapolis. So I do like quite a few running backs this week. Not any of the expensive ones, but I like a lot of the mid-range ones. So we like Chris Ivory, 5,900. He's playing away, which I tend to stay away from. But he's at a terrible New York Giants defense, so it's just a great price for him with that matchup and the fact that that could be a really high-scoring game. I also like Doug Martin, home versus the Falcons at the same price. This could be a very high-scoring game as well. And the Falcons are not so strong against the run, and Martin has gone off a few times this season in similar spots, so I'll be gambling on him at that price. I also like Lamar Miller at 5,800. They'll probably use the Ravens, I'm thinking, to bounce back from these terrible games they've had, just like they used the Titans and whoever they played after that when they just beat the hell out of two teams and scored all these fantasy points about a month and a half ago. This is a similar spot where they're home against a super weak team, and they're going to flex and show you that they still got all this talent. And I expect Lamar Miller to be the very, very focal point of that effort and for him to get at least 30 touches. And the Ravens have a poor defense. They have a bad offense, which will leave Miami's O on the field long, and poor rush defense in particularly. I also like LaShawn McCoy at 5,700. He's just a home running back versus a weak team. I don't love his matchup versus Houston, but he's still a beast, and I'll be playing him in a few just because of that price and that he's home. And he's been playing well lately. He's getting 22 points a game or so. So I love D'Angelo Williams this week at 5,600. Home versus the Colts and playing very well. That whole Pitt team has been injured all season, and he's just remained healthy and very productive whenever he's on the field. He's got a great matchup versus a weak defense in the Colts, who is particularly weak versus the rush. So I love D'Angelo this week. And as far as an injury/value play, I like David Johnson on Arizona for 3,400. He gets the start this week, and he's on the Cardinals, who are a high-powered offense. And if they do get ahead, he could see close to 30 touches. He's actually playing at St. Louis, which is a decent defense, not the greatest matchup in the world. But they haven't been playing too well against the rush. So I'll definitely be sticking him in a few lineups in hopes that he at least gets me a high floor and lets me spend big elsewhere. As far as wide receivers, I like Mike Evans at 7,300. Vincent Jackson is, again, hobbled. And this has a high point total, and if it turns into a shootout, I expect Evans to get the majority of those points. I also like Alshon Jeffrey, home versus the San Francisco Niners, and the Bears need this one bad. Cutler looks good, and Jeffrey finally appears to be at full health. I expect those two to start clicking here at the end of the season in a big way. And what a better way than against the weak Niners, or to get it started. As I mentioned before, I like the Jets receivers. I lean towards Decker in this spot just because the injury or Marshall's questionable health. And also Decker is a better price. So that matchup alone, either play is fine. And I lean towards Decker a little bit. But I'll probably end up playing both of them in a lot of lineups. I like T.Y. Hilton for 5,700. As I mentioned before, I think this is going to be a shootout, and this is going to be. And T.Y. Hilton's been playing well, and Hasselbeck's been playing well, and I think that this price for T.Y. Hilton is as cheap as he's been in a while, and he should be. This is a good game for him to potentially bounce back in a huge way. And I also like Brandon LaFell, who has hurt me. He's hurt my heart the last couple of weeks, so I keep picking him for super cheap, and the Patriots. Lack of receiving targets and his price and Brady's throwing the ball, it's going to send me running right back into his arms, and I'll be playing him again this week, at least in a few lineups in the hopes that he finally goes off. However, tight ends, Scott Chandler, 2,500. Tight end for the Patriots, filling in for Gronk. He had 5 catches for 50 yards and a touchdown last week when he came in. He's going to be a popular play for a lot of people this week that do a little research, but he's still going to be a good play. He's only 2,500. Gronk's out. The Patriots wide receivers are all hobbled or injured, and the Eagles' pass defense is just super weak. Huge potential for this price. So I also like Greg Olsen for 6,400. As we said before, they're playing the Saints, who are second to last in pass defense, so it's a great week to spend on a guy like that. Delaney Walker continues to play great for a tight end. I was trying to write him off halfway through the season, but he just keeps playing great week in and week out. And now they're playing the Jags, who are a great matchup for him, especially against the tight end position. And then Travis Kelce at 4,700, who also has had a great year. His quarterback is playing great at the moment, Alex Smith. And they play Oakland, who is near last in the league in defending against the tight end. So it's a great price, especially for that matchup, and I'll be playing him with confidence. As far as team defenses, I like the Patriots at home, the Steelers at home, and the Bears at home, all playing very weak offenses with new quarterback-type players. So those are the 3 defenses I'll be cycling in and out. And as far as my bets this week, I like the Rams +7. As I mentioned, I went 2-1 last week, and I'm still on a little bit of a streak, 6-1 for the pick of the week. And my pick of the week is the Rams +7 at home versus the Cardinals. What I wrote here is that home teams should rarely be getting a touchdown or more in the NFL unless it's a really bad team at home versus a powerhouse, like New England at said shitbox team. But in this matchup, we have a near powerhouse in Arizona and an average team in St. Louis. So it's not quite that concoction that I think deserves a 7-point or higher home dog. So that being said, I think the Rams cover this spread. I wouldn't even be surprised to see them win. And I think that the 83% of the betting public that is betting Arizona takes a fall. So I also like the Raiders +3 at home against the Chiefs. Not in love with this game, but I do like the Raiders taking this game in a very divisional kind of matchup. It can get ugly, and you never know who's going to win these games. That's why I don't love it. But I want to take the points. I think they're very evenly matched this year, but I think Carr is playing slightly better right now, and Oakland has that edge with home field. and I think the public still likes the Chiefs a little bit more than Oakland right now. All that being said, I like Oakland to cover that. However, if you're in position to bet exactas, bet both ways and get 20-1 on KC winning by exactly 3, that's probably the best play. So that being said, last pick I like is the Browns plus 10 at home versus the Bengals. Much like my San Francisco bet last week, who were home plus 11 and covered. It's just too many points for a home underdog. This line also opened at 9.5, which to me is a small fringe point that I think matters. I think those matter more at 7 and 3, but at 10 they matter too. And the fact that it opened at 9.5 leaves me suspect. It leads me to believe that it's an inducing the majority to say, Bengals should win by 10 here, because they are a great team this year and the Browns are not. So I think that way. So I think the majority of people are also thinking that way, and because of that, I like to take the dog, especially after the public moves the line up to 10 or higher. I'm sure you'll be able to find it for 10.5, 11 by the end of the week. And if you do want to pick the Browns, which I'll be doing, I'm going to wait till that line goes a little more up. And 80% on the Bengals. So you got to like fading that kind of public heavy bet. So those are the games I like and the DFS plays I like. Hope you guys win some money and have a great time. Enjoy Sunday. And I'll see you next week for the NFL plays here at betsum.com.